Welcome, dear friends, to my Bajerski YouTube channel. Another day to talk about taboo topic. Subject matter today is ayahuasca. Now, it's an interesting subject, and it's also very interesting that my ayahuasca video was taken down. It had over, I think, 300,000 views and mysteriously disappeared. That's interesting, isn't it? I wonder why. First of all, I'd like to just point out that my opinion, my thoughts and feelings of any drug is my own thoughts and feelings, my personal understanding through experience, not through hearsay, not through videos, books, or any influencers. It's 100% 20 years of my understanding of working with shamans, working with people who were very close to the energy of dark magic, you want to call it voodoo, spells, witchcraft, all of these things. So I've been in that vicinity of these people around and witnessed certain things happening. And ayahuasca is something that I do like to talk about. I guess it's good to start with what I've done in my life. I've done magic mushrooms only once. That was a strange experience. We were kids, and older people told me, about these things, and some of my friends were all. It was the rave, kind of rave. I remember running home being petrified, and as I was running, somebody was chasing me. And the more I was running, the more they were catching up to me, and I could hear their footsteps. It wasn't until I looked down and realized it was actually my own footsteps I was hearing. So that was a weird experience for me. I've done other substances, working with shamans. I've taken the dragon herb. I've taken the stuff that you shoot up your nose, which makes you cough like crazy. The dragon herb normally makes people feel sick and brings out a lot of the stuff. I mean, I could go really into detail, but I'm just skimming the surface here. I haven't done ayahuasca. And there's reasons for it, and they're my own personal reasons. Now, first things first, I have met a lot of shamans that go through this process of ayahuasca. And what I saw of those shamans was integrity. I saw strength, and I saw, what did I see most of all? The intuition to see within a certain soul who were on this retreat that they weren't ready, or they were ready. So they had this gift of seeing. Now, to me and you, we can clearly see if we cold read somebody that they're in a bad place. They're on probably medication from the government, which I also have an issue with. Why should one drug, because it's legal, be deemed okay when another in a forest not be, so to speak? You know what I mean, or grown. So I have an issue with all of those things for me. But like I said, for me, I, over the years, had read from many people and been with many people who are on a spiritual journey who got a great deal from ayahuasca. Their experience was incredible, to be honest. And that was when they were in the presence of a real shaman. And they were 100% ready because the shaman would spend a couple of days with them to prepare them, but also I was told many times that even in the preparation, some shamans would say you're not ready, even after the preparation, which I had a lot of respect for. Unfortunately, when it comes to money, greed and fame, there has been a huge infiltration of the ceremony, the ritual of ayahuasca. So in my humble opinion, I saw the real ceremony take place, and that is in the right circumstances, in the right environment, with real shamans. And even all of that, I would still say I would be cautious. So why am I so cautious about all of this, even though you would be with an amazing shaman, which most shamans are not shamans, they just saw a great opportunity like most of humanity does, and pretends to be something. Now everybody in Peru is a shaman, everybody's a shaman all over the world. It's incredible, where they've no real understanding, and it can be quite, not dangerous, but maybe it is dangerous, but then it's a lesson that we all need to learn, good and bad. It's like with a mechanic, eh? It's like with anybody, I guess. Whatever you do, there's good and bad in everything. So the cautious side. Okay, so I had a client who was coming to me and came to me every few months, and she'd been on medication, legal medication, for about 26 years, 27 years. She was quite frail. She was very, very, very sensitive, to the point that if you said the wrong thing, it could ruin her month. So you had to be extremely careful. And she asked me that there was a ayahuasca ceremony in Marbella. And I said, look, ayahuasca should really be where ayahuasca is, in that energetic frequency, that Mother Earth, not in a 5-star hotel type of place where there's a bit of grass and, there's these people who've learned a little bit about ayahuasca of how to, prepare you, but, and are they real shamans? And I just said to her, look, something doesn't feel quite right. And I said, if you want my feeling is that you don't need it right now. I didn't say that you're not ready for it or it's not good for you. I just said, I just don't feel it's the right moment. That was the most gentle way. Anyway, she never listened, and she went on this I think it was 3 days. She lasted a one night. She was driven to the hospital, and the nurse, who I know, told me what was going on because she sent me a message, and it was literally she had to be taken care of for about 7 days. Now this is an extreme case because of her sensitivity, but there's also been cases that I know from many nurses that I know on the Costa del Sol who have said that be very cautious about it because it can cause great harm in an emotional and spiritual way. And even though these nurses were nurses, they could see quite clearly something wasn't right. So can it open you up to even more fear, even more darkness, even more terror? I think it can. if you're not ready. And how many people do I know have taken ayahuasca? Probably thousands. So I've got a good overall understanding. How many people, Mark, in general, do you know who took ayahuasca, who benefited from it quite a lot? How many people, Mark, do you think suffered from it? Quite a lot. Is there anything else, Mark, you want to talk about ayahuasca? Yeah, I do actually. I'd like to talk to you about the highs and lows of ayahuasca. Like anything else in life, when you take something, if you get a high, there's normally a low. If there's something that you take and you felt amazing, there is often a chance, not always, but there's a chance that this becomes like an addiction. Have I seen people become addicted to ayahuasca? Well, not to the plant itself, but to the experience. So let me alliterate on this. People who strive to become more connected to our spirit world, to other energetic frequencies, to go deep and see things and feel things, amazing things. It's not that easy when you are doing it in a natural way whereby you sit and meditate. You might rub a bit of natural oil on to try and help enhance your calmness, awareness. You might have some incense to cleanse and clear away negativity. But in general, you don't swallow anything. You just work on your own energetic frequency and try to raise that vibration yourself. That is a lot more challenging, a lot more harder, and it takes a lot more. However, when you do meditate and you do hit those moments of nirvana, those moments where you feel something so profound, I see it like a heart monitor. You know, the heart monitor runs like that. That's the deadline, okay? But then your heart goes up high and then comes down low. So if you meditate and you work really hard, you go up and then you go, wow, I felt that, and then you come down and then you have the low and then you want to come up again. So you meditate again, you come up again, and then you come down, but you don't come down as low as the first time. So what happens is the more you naturally work on meditation, the lows become less and less. Now with things like ayahuasca and LSD and MDMA and all the other stuff, the frog and the all the other stuff that you can use to get the high, there's always a low, and the low is always low, so it never gets any stronger. The low is always low after you're finished, and with that there is a need to experience again the high. Some people would call it the experience of connecting to the spirit world, or the connecting to this great universe, the cosmos, and they feel the need that they want to expand more and more. But what I noticed was it was an excuse. It wasn't really an expansion or anything like that, because I used to sit with many people who have done 20, 30, 50 ceremonies, and nothing has changed from the first day they did it till now. They're still the same person, and they still have in their own natural daily life the same experiences of highs and lows, and they haven't really elevated. They just had an experience. Whereas when I speak about natural healing, when you learn to heal yourself, when you learn to meditate yourself, you actually can see that you've actually grown. You've grown because something within you which was natural happened. Whereas if you've taken something which is foreign to your body, then you will get the high, but then it goes and you get the low. So when people ask me, what do you think about ayahuasca? I say I would rather climb the mountain and get to the top rather than get in a helicopter and get taken to the top, because it's never the same. And actually I can look back as I practiced my mantras, as I practiced my breathing technique, as I practiced my meditation, as I practiced absent healing and self-healing. I can look back, I can look down, I can look back on all that experience and see how I've grown and feel that I've grown in so many ways. Whereas ayahuasca was just the experience. And what I did notice, and that it frightened me a lot, that people were saving for the next ayahuasca experience because they wanted it again. Now, it's not an addiction that you need it, but it is a need to get back to that energetic frequency again, and to see and feel and to open everything. So I guess this bit now becomes a little bit taboo, and I'm going to have to be careful here on this bit. But no, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it like it is. Did you notice a difference, Mark, in those people who constantly went for ayahuasca? I'm sorry to say, guys, I know you're going to be upset with me because a lot of you watch my channel, but I did see a difference. Was it positive, Mark? It wasn't. What did you see within your friends and clients after they'd done ayahuasca so many times? I saw there was another hole inside them that now needed to be filled. What do you mean? The only way I can explain it is there's an emptiness within their energy, and there is a kind of glaze within their eyes. There is something that looks like they're searching for something that cannot be found. And I felt uncomfortable because there was something not quite right. It didn't feel like I was in the presence of somebody who was relaxed. There was something that had changed. One of the things that I noticed was that they were open to anything, and their moral compass, their intuition had somehow become fogged, clouded. So there was like, I'd sit there thinking, you're not the same as I remember you. You're not the same. Something's changed. And it didn't feel like you've changed and you're more aware of life and you understand life, you understand spirituality, you understand everything. I didn't see that. Some people who did it once or twice had great experiences, and it gave them more opportunity to move forward and to, kind of look deeper, but in a balanced way. We can talk about ayahuasca and we can talk about other drugs as well. And there is something that I often used to say to people, and before they used to do certain drugs or while they were doing certain drugs, I would give them my understanding and I would see future for them. And many times I would say, if you continue doing this, what you're doing, in 6 weeks or 1 year or 2 years, you will end up in a an institution, a hospital, or, you know, not a mental, we don't call them mental hospitals, but a place where you're having to be looked after. And it was awful because most of them times actually came true, and it wasn't nice for me to see. And some listened and stopped. So what does that mean? We're going into depth now, we're going into detail. What it means is that the physical body can cope with so much. So you can have one person who can smoke all his life and never get cancer, another person smoke who can get very sick. You can have one person do a drug and it won't affect them the same as another person. So, you know, somebody can drink 2 glasses of wine and be fine. Somebody can drink 2 glasses of wine and can't stand up. Some people drink beer and laugh all night, and some drink beer and want to break up a bar and hit everybody. So each individual is different, and that's the same with ayahuasca, and it's the same with any drug that people take. So when you are trying to justify by saying, well, he took it and he's okay, that means nothing. And everybody does it. Well, it doesn't matter. I noticed in the times that I was in the 80s, early 90s, there was many drugs on the open market, and MDMA was one of them. But there was also a lot of people smoking dope, grass, hash, I don't know what else. There are lots of different names, but they were smoking and they were doing speed, and they were also they were going to the nightclubs and they were doing something called poppers. And what happened at that point was there was a lot of people getting this they named it to try and help people, but what I saw was people, their body breaking down, and they called it ME. They called it yuppie disease or yuppie fever, something like that, where literally the body would just break down and they couldn't do anything, no energy, nothing. And this is what I'm trying to come to. A lot of the times that I was in the vicinity of people who wanted to do ayahuasca and other things, I would say, you know, your body can only cope with so much, so just be aware of that and be careful. One of the questions I used to ask about ayahuasca is, what is the need? Why do you feel you want ayahuasca? And I guess if you're thinking about doing it, it's a great question to ask yourself in the mirror. Look in the mirror and say, why do I want to do this? If you were to ask me, would you do it? If a dear friend really wanted me to be there with them and do it, maybe, but I'm not sure. I just don't think I want to. Why? Because I've experienced deep meditation. I've experienced working with spirit. I've experienced going into properties and feeling different energetic frequencies and seeing the most amazing things. I've worked with beautiful people, and I've done this all naturally. Well, of course, with oils and incense. You could argue the fact, and you're probably right, that oils and incense have a kind of manipulation like ayahuasca. Well, it does to a degree, but it's far more gentle. And the after effect isn't a negative one in any way. I guess somebody might be watching this and say, well, when I use your incense, I cough a lot and I can't breathe. Well, then, you know, I get that to a degree. Oils, I don't know. I've never heard anything bad said about my oils or you using oils, but they've always been brilliant for me and they've helped me attune. But I've got to say, I'm really proud of attuning to what people talked about their experience of ayahuasca, that I've done it naturally. And a lot of my clients did it naturally. And a lot of clients laid down and had a healing session and saw things that they never saw before. Colours, spirit, amazing geometry, connection to the grandma and conversations and just those what people talk about after an ayahuasca ceremony. So in my experience, in my understanding about all of these things, I think if the choice was given to me, do you want to take ayahuasca or do you want to climb up this mountain? And it's going to take a long time, but this is what you're going to have to do. But the reward is forevermore. Whereas ayahuasca is, you always need another fix. You always need another ceremony to get there. Whereas when you do it naturally, it's far more easier once you've hit nirvana, once you've hit that high, that divine moment where you open up. It's easier then, and it's natural, and it's it's easier to get there. A bit like a weightlifter. If you practice in a gym and you lift weights, the day you stop lifting weights and go away and come back a week or 2 weeks or a month later and start lifting weights again, you find you get bigger quicker. So it's like a muscle that's been exercised, and once you go back to that muscle, the muscle becomes stronger again. Now there is an argument to that point as well, that if you exercise too much and you become a weightlifter, then if you stop, then you lose everything and you wish you hadn't. That's very true as well. But I'm talking about in balance terms. So I haven't gone to the gym and pumped iron, but if I went now, my body would start to get bigger very quickly than if I'd never done it before. So what I'm trying to say is that I personally feel that the spiritual path is one where we go into Mother Earth and we sit and we just breathe and we connect to what Mother Earth offers us. And that is an energetic frequency that lifts us. And I guess that makes sense why the Buddha sat under a tree, because that's real true enlightenment. And I'm not suggesting that you sit under a tree for 18 years. But I do believe that if you are in a natural energetic frequency with Mother Earth's energy, it's kind of funny really, because a lot of you might be saying, well, hang on a minute, Mark, ayahuasca is natural. It's a plant, and you're right, it is. So there is another side to the argument, and I hope I've tried to cover that side by telling you at the beginning that if you are strong enough, if you are ready, if you are prepared for all the experience of ayahuasca, if you are with a genuine and humble and non-greedy shaman who does it for the experience that you're going to receive, and the money comes after, it's not the most important thing, then they can say you're ready or you're not ready. Then that I have no issue with at all. But what I am here to say is, it is quite taboo, because people get very angry, because this is a multi-million pound industry now, and the Western world has taken over it, and there is a lot of fools out there. And I'm not nitpicking, but guys, be aware, be very, very aware of going to a ceremony if it's just by somebody who claims to be. You do your homework. Do your homework and make sure whoever is taking that ceremony, that you are actually with somebody who is absolutely a shaman and not somebody who's just made it up. And there's a lot of people out there who make it up. I guess that's it really. Ultimately, we do what we feel we do. And whatever the experience is, whether it's good or bad, well, you've learned from it, I guess. Some of you will be blowing a trumpet for ayahuasca now under here, saying it was the best thing that ever happened to you. like I said, you may have been ready for it, which is fine. But then some of you might have gone through a tremendous trauma, and it could have taken you up to 2 to 3 years to actually get over that trauma. Don't tell me it doesn't happen. It does. I can vouch, I can guarantee you through my clients and through a lot of nurses that I know who have had to deal in the Costa del Sol with the absolute monumental awakening of this new ceremony of ayahuasca here on the Costa del Sol, where every man and his dog was doing it. And I saw the after effects, and so did my friends who are nurses, who said this is actually quite scary. I asked the nurse if she would do an interview with me, but she refused because client confidentiality, so she would lose a job, which made sense. I said, what if we don't even mention it? She said, no, I could lose my job. And I said, okay. So it would have been nice to get a nurse sat here and sharing her experience of what she saw within her clients. Do people get better after a bad experience of ayahuasca? Of course they do. The body becomes stronger after a while, and then they become okay, and then, but like I said, there are times that it can take a long time to heal from it. So I guess after watching this video, you can make your own mind up and say, am I strong enough? And if you believe that you are, and you're ready because you're on a spiritual journey already, and you're already learned and experienced and did lots of other practices like meditation and all the other things that you may have done, healing sessions, learn all of, so you kind of get an idea of what the universe offers and what spirit offers and all the other things that come with it. So you're kind of aware of all that. So, you've done a bit of meditation where you've gone into places, you've had healing sessions where you've gone into places, you've done sound therapies, you've done lots of other things. That kind of like, and other ceremonies as well that shamans do, there's lots of ceremonies which are a lot more gentle, So you build yourself up to it, but to just fully dive into ayahuasca, not knowing anything about this field of work, can be and is a shock to a lot of people, and can be ultra amazing, but at the same time can be very addictive as well. I hope I've covered enough for you today in this taboo topic. I am neither for nor against ayahuasca at all. I'm just pointing out truth as a healer, as a natural healer, through my experience over these 20 years. I wish you a lovely day, guys. I hope this video serves you well. And if you know somebody who is going for a ceremony, maybe you could send this to them and they can say, okay, it was great listening to him. I don't agree with a lot of the things he says, or I do agree. It's great. That information has helped me now look a little bit deeper before I go any further forward. I guess I'll leave it on this note. If you were to say to me, Mark, if you decide one day to do it, how would you do it? This is how I would do it. I wouldn't do it in Marbella. I would make sure that I would do my homework. I would research the shaman who would be taking me through this particular ceremony. I would make sure that where I am, it would be within the place where ayahuasca is or close by. I would want to do it within the vicinity of the jungle, the forest. I want to be in that energetic energy. And I think I have to be 100% sure that my body, my spirit, my soul, my energy, my physical is at peak form, that I am happy, I am filled with joy, that I am filled with excitement, that I am attuned, that my energy is really strong and and my psychic is brilliant, is really, really good, at that point, then maybe I would consider doing it. But if it's anything else, if I'm not feeling well, if I'm down, if I'm searching for something, if I'm desperate, if I feel like heartbroken, I'm trying to heal myself from something, then in my experience, I would not look towards ayahuasca at that point. I hope this video serves you well. Please don't be angry with me. It was just my point of view as a healer and my experience over 20 years of healing over 10,000 clients. That is my truth. I'm not so sure if this video will stay up now. Let's see.